It's pretty difficult to find stuff that nobody talks about, basically. And I also really love the two fingers version, and be cool without having to knit the whole sock. And the best part is that the pattern is free. This one looks like it's very basic, but there is something extremely special about them. Hi, my name is Maya, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 17th of September 2025, and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live with my gecko. Today, I finally have a pattern roundup inspiration video for you for the season of fall, the upcoming season. I have selected 14 different patterns, and I tried my best to select patterns from designers that are lesser known and that are size inclusive, because I am tired of seeing the same patterns over and over again in everyone's other roundup videos. And yeah, it's always the same styles, the same designers, the same kind of garments, the same constructions, the same colors, the same everything, and I just want to see something different. And I figured if I want something different, I'm probably not the only one. So this is why I decided to make these seasonal videos, and this is the 4th or the 5th. I think I did 4. So it's the second time I'm doing a fall pattern roundup actually, and I'm super excited about what I have to share. But first I have a few little PSAs that I need to not forget about. So the first thing is about the content of today. So what kind of patterns am I going to talk about? Well, I have a little bit of everything. So it's not going to be just sweaters or just socks or whatever. It's a good selection. And I classified them in a bit of a weird way. Basically, I went from what has the most fabric to what has the least fabric, which I know doesn't really make sense, but it's kind of how my brain works. So I started with, wait, I had to write it down. I started with long cardigan, and I went to sweaters, to pants, to tees, to socks, to mittens, to hat, to hair accessory. So those are all the categories I have, and I just decided to put them in that order because it made sense to me. And I also mostly selected stuff that's within my own personal taste. So it's not going to be an absolute explosion of different styles, because it felt wrong to try to share patterns or designs that I wouldn't myself want to make. So I only selected things that I'm very interested to do. And if I had unlimited time, I would definitely knit, but I don't have unlimited time. Nobody has. And it's very sad. So yeah, I try to stay within my own style and what I like. And what I like is usually basic with a twist, with a little like distinctive element, but not too much, not over the top. But sometimes I love over the top as well. I love bold and graphic design elements, and I also like kind of classic and stylish stuff. And yeah, you're gonna see, but yeah, this is based on what I find interesting and beautiful. Now, for the definition I use of small designer, I had to use a criteria to determine if someone is a small designer or not. I could have gone with like the number of projects of a design on Ravelry. I could have gone with a lot of stuff, but I decided to go with the number of followers on Instagram. Totally random, I know, but I just had to take a decision because otherwise it would be too difficult for me to go on every single media presence of every designer to determine if they are really well known or not. Yeah, I just had to keep things simple for me. So if the person had less than around 10k followers on Instagram, for me I consider them a small designer. There is only one exception, but I will explain why, and I hope it will make sense to you, but yeah. Everyone I'm going to talk about today is kind of roughly under 10k followers on Instagram. And size inclusive, because there are a lot of big size inclusive designers that I love the designs of, but we all know about like Lily Kate or Jessie May or Laura Penrose, and you just don't need me to tell you about those designers because you know about them already. You don't need a video to tell you about that. My objective today is to try to expand your horizons and try to make you discover hidden gems that you wouldn't have heard about if it wasn't for this video. Now, finding lesser known designers is pretty difficult by essence, so I did ask you guys on the last couple of videos of mine to give me some suggestions for designs and designers, and thank you so much because I got a ton and I discovered so many incredible people, and it was super exciting to go through all the designs of those new designers. I couldn't include everything, of course, but I did keep some of them for future videos. So thank you so much for your help. It did really help me out a lot because yeah, it's pretty difficult to find stuff that nobody talks about, basically. And regarding the size range, as I mentioned, I'm only going to talk about size-inclusive designs, and the usual consensus for size-inclusive design is that they must fit a full bust between 76 to 152.5 centimeters or 30 to 60 inches. And that's to fit, which means you need to subtract or add respectively the positive or negative ease of a garment. So for example, if a garment's largest size is 61 inches, but the positive ease suggested is like 4 to 6 inches, you need to remove the biggest one, so 6 inches to the biggest size, so 61 minus 5 would be 56 inches, which means the pattern is technically not size inclusive because it only fits up to 56 inches instead of 60. However, I find this threshold completely arbitrary and coming out of nowhere because it just feels like it was chosen because it's a round number, but it's only a round number for people who use inches. And bodies are not round numbers. There is absolutely no reason the human body is going to stop being considered an average size on a round number. Just there is no reason. And again, 60 inches is a round number in inches, but in centimeters, it's 152.4 centimeters, which is very impractical as a value. And if this whole size inclusivity thing had been decided by someone that was using the metric system, it would be 150 centimeters, which means 59 inches, which means every pattern that today fits up to a 59 inches bust would be size inclusive. But since the person who decided that uses the imperial system, they are not. And it's just completely random. Anyway, all of that to say, I'm not going to fuss too much if the pattern fits only up to 59 inches or 31 inches or what, because to me it just doesn't make sense to be too rigid and extremist about this kind of value, especially since we are working with fabrics that are by essence elastics and knitted, and it would be a little bit like if you're a cooker and you consider that a meal is failed because you use 55 grams of sugar instead of 50 grams. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And on top of that, we are all humans, and let me tell you, I personally have never, ever matched all the measurements of a pattern. I am always off by 1 or 2 centimeters in one direction, either be it the neckline or the width or the length or whatever. I'm always off somewhere, and I'm in the smaller size range. So if you're in the bigger size range, it's even more difficult to match completely the measurements of a design. Oh, there's the guy cleaning the windows outside. Yeah, so it just doesn't make sense to be too rigid about the actual threshold of size inclusivity. And you may not agree with me, which is totally okay. Like, I think last year's me wouldn't agree with today's me, but you live and you learn, you get experienced, you see what the world is made of, and then you realize that some things that you were told are not necessarily completely true, and you just make your own opinion about stuff. And today my opinion is like this. Maybe it's going to change next month, I don't know, but for today's video, this is what we are going with. All right. One last thing, I'm not going to say out loud all the suggested yarns, needle used, yarn weights, or suggested yarns or whatever, because I find that super boring and I'm not really interested. When I see a new pattern, I just want to know what it's about and not the technical details of it. And if you want to know those kind of more detailed information, you can just go in the description box. I'm going to put the link to the Ravelry bundle I did for today's patterns, and you can go and check that out. And I will also have screen recording of my tablet and I'm gonna scroll through the designs on Ravelry while I talk to you. And everything is gonna display here, so you can see while I talk what I'm seeing. And the size range, needle sizes, fabric gauge, all of that is gonna be here and you can just read for you. I know some people have sensibility towards Ravelry's website, so to mitigate that, I'm gonna use the low contrast mode. You can switch between a few different modes on the website, and I'm gonna cut out the switch between pages because I heard it's what's the most problematic. It's when the new page refreshes, basically. So I'm gonna cut that out, and hopefully it should mitigate the problem that some people have with the Ravelry website. All right, I think that's all. Yes, so now we can finally get into the patterns for today's roundup. So let me start the screen recording. So the first pattern is this one. It's called the Fall Line Cardigan by, I'm gonna have trouble with all the names. I say it up front now, I'm gonna mispronounce everything, I'm gonna butcher all the names, I'm sorry in advance. Rachel Costello, I'm just saying it in French at this point. And this to me is the perfect basic with a twist, like quite literally. It's a basic like mid-length cardigan, I would say, but there is this twist because the shawl collar is flowing into the body and there is this diagonal kind of detail that goes along the waist and that comes up the arm, and I just think is very elevated and classy, but without being too much. It's a DK weight pattern, it's worked top down. It seems to be like a Raglan or something, I guess. And I can see in the description it says that it has cables, which I think are the diagonal lines that make the separation between the stockinette and the ribbing. And it's charted. Yeah, I really like the way it looks. I think it's easy to dress up or down. It's like just a wardrobe staple you can just throw on your shoulders and just instantly feel like you've got yourself together, kind of. And I always love a shawl collar. I just think they look so comfy and cozy, but at the same time, it doesn't look like homeware. It's something you would totally wear out. Like if you had to go to the office and had some important meetings or whatever, you could totally wear that. And I don't have meetings and I don't have an important job where I have to show up and be kind of dressed up or anything, but I think this would be the perfect garment for that. The next one is also a cardigan. It's the Pearly Cardigan by Leah Klein. And this one is super cool. It's the typical basic with a twist that I absolutely love, again. It's also DK weight, it's also worked top down. But this one is a saddle shoulder. So you cast on the... I'm pointing with my finger, but you cannot see that. But yeah, you cast on the saddle shoulder and then you have this fun like I-cord detail that's going all around it. I don't really know in what order things are made, but it looks super cool and super fun to do. And I like how you can achieve very different styles and effects with the same pattern. If you go full contrast, full high contrast like this one, you can go like for kind of almost cyberpunk look, like the neon tubings on a dark background. Or you can go very classy and elevated if you go like, for example, all white background, white tubing detail, or you can go a bit more elevated or something if you have like a beige background and a slightly darker piping detail. That would be so good. Or just any monochrome pairing, I think would be awesome. The designer, so Leah, she also has a version in beige, which is what I mentioned. I think if the piping was even lighter than that, it could really look like a high fashion and street thing. I think it could be awesome. Yeah, so I think this is very versatile. You can dress it up or down again. And it looks super unique, but not too much. And that's what I prefer. Alright, next one is a completely different style. It's a round yoke colorwork sweater, so worked from the top down and also DK weight gauge. Yes. And I really like round yoke colorwork sweaters in general, and I especially like those that have a figurative motif. Like you all know about the ones with the fishes and stuff like that. But this designer, she has a ton of gorgeous colorwork yoke designs, and they are all so unique and so incredible and gorgeous. However, most of them are absolutely not size inclusive, and only the last 3 she has released, so this one and 2 other, have decent size range, so it's going up to 161 centimeters. And if you remove the suggested ease, it's not size inclusive anymore, but as I mentioned, it's not too far off from the limit, so for me it's fine. And I understand that with this type of very big motif, you're kind of limited with the amount of sizes you can do, so yeah, makes sense to me. So this one has very beautiful moth. Oh, they are gorgeous. And what I like the most, I think, is that the space between the motif is plain, there is no filling, and I think it makes the motif more striking, almost more graphic. And it does mean that the color work is going to be a bit more difficult because the floats are going to be longer. But I learned how to do leatherback jacquard recently, and I am not scared of long floats anymore, and you shouldn't be either, because leatherback jacquard is really fun and easy to do. Oh, I just saw she has a tattoo with the moth. That's super cool. I'm just gonna show you very quickly the other round yokes of this designer. So yeah, they're gorgeous. All very unique. I love the one with the fishes. This one has snakes. It's so cool. Yeah, they're all, I mean, hello. But yeah, again, the size range of everything is not great aside from the last three. So you do with that what you want, but the one I'm suggesting is size inclusive, and that's what matters. Alright, the next one is the Joelentine Pullover by Sarah Ottosson. And this one is so cool. I have to say, I really don't like the colors of the sample. Just not my thing at all. But I have found a few testers versions in different color palettes, and wow, that's where you can really see how different the same design can look depending on the color palette you choose. So I think there's definitely a way to go, like, again, dress this up or dress it down. You can make it into a very, how would you say that, passepartout piece, like a wardrobe staple if you use grounded colors, like a color palette all in the beiges or all in the grays or something like that, or even just a monochrome palette. Or you can go bold and have very contrasting colors, or yeah, you can go kind of in any direction, and I think this is really cool. This is a DK weight. It's worked flat because it's in tarja, obviously, but it is not seamed because the pieces are joined together at the underarms with this kind of garter panel, and on each side of the garter band you like join the stitches of the rest of the garment you have already knit before, so you don't have to seam, which is super cool. And I just really love the way this line flows from the bottom. It's just super cool. And like when your arm is down, you cannot see it at all, but you can kind of see it peek, and yeah, it's just incredible. And I like also the way the collar is made. It's super, super crisp and clean. And the best part is that there is also a hat and a cowl design that has the same kind of graphic elements on them, so you can totally have a matching set if you want. And I think it's awesome. The hat is especially cool. Yeah, that's it. The hat is just, I mean, the kind of pleat or whatever on the back is incredible. It's just so unique, and you can do so many different things. You can enhance it, you can hide it, you can do whatever. It's just really, really different from what you see usually. All right, the next one is the Brushwood Raglan sweater. Because yes, I couldn't let your partners down, and I also couldn't let people among you who have masculine proportions, like me actually, or that just prefer masculine fits in general. So this is a design that's specifically graded for men, and I think it's really awesome because it's exactly basic with the twist. It's like the most basic Raglan sweater ever, but it has this kind of texture that's only in the middle, and it has quite wide Raglan lines on the shoulders. And I think overall it just looks really cool and kind of, yeah, elevated without being too much. And I also really love the way it looks when it's oversized. And yeah, this is really exactly like the design in itself looks like a men's sweater, definitely. And if you put it on and it's oversized, you completely have the look of, I just brought this to my boyfriend and it's just so cool, and yeah, I just love it. Anyway, it's a DK weight. It's knit in the round, top down, and I think it's super cool. Alright, the next one is the exception in today, because this designer is pretty well known. I think everyone knows about her by now. It's Rachel Ilsley, also known as Unwind Knitwear on Instagram. And everybody knows this person. I mean, she does so many beautiful colorwork yoke designs, but she's mostly known for those colorwork yoke designs. She also do cowls. But yeah, that's what most people think about when they see her name or her designs. But she didn't do only that. And this particular one is something I saw probably when it came out, like in 2019, so that was 6 years ago. And I have loved it ever since. It's just so cool. It's an open front cardigan with colorworks, but the colorwork motifs are vertical, and it's awesome. And it's very different from what you're used to see from this person, which is why I am including it in today's video, because you probably know about this designer, but did you know about this design? And it's also something that's worth showing to me, because you don't necessarily know about the hidden gems of even the biggest designer out there. So yeah, this is why I included it. This is also DK weight. Everything is DK weight up until now. I didn't do it on purpose. It's knit in the round. There is a special construction apparently where you knit the colorwork in the round and then you stick the bottom so that you can actually like fit your legs through, which is nice because knitting this colorwork flat wouldn't be funny, but it's not. For this one, the sizing is different because it's actually going from elbow to elbow, so it's a bit more difficult to determine if it's size inclusive or not, because you don't have actual bust measurement in this one. And there are only 4 sizes because all the sizes cover 2 actual sizes, so it's like XS, S, M, L, XL, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, which probably doesn't go high enough. However, if you would like to make it bigger, I think it would be extremely easy to simply pick up stitches from the inside here of the opening on the front and just add fabric there. Because the measurement from elbow to elbow doesn't get bigger as people's circumference get bigger. Like your arms, your elbows stay the same even if your bust circumference gets bigger. Anyway, I think this is really unique, this is super cool, and I think it also goes to show it's worth going into the older designs of very famous designers just to see what they were doing at the beginning of their career. Maybe they had a different style, maybe they were doing different things and doing them differently. Yeah, I think it's just worth giving it a shot. Alright, the next one is we are going out of the top layer garment category and we are going into the pants, because I have a pants pattern and it's awesome. So those are the Berkeley tights by Elida Virac. And it's supposed to be a matching set, but I really love the tights, especially because they are so unique. I mean, unique in the sense that there are not a lot of knitted bottom patterns out there. So I think this one is really cool, also because the fit seems to be absolutely perfect. I mean, also it's ribbing, so it's easier to have a nice fit, but there seem to be a lot of shaping, like in different areas. Like you have the shaping around the thighs, and then you have shaping around the knees, and then shaping around the calf, and then there is the flare out at the very bottom. They just seem to be very well thought out, and the best part is that the pattern is free. So you can just download it if you want to see how it works. And I think there are a ton of languages as well. So yeah, that's just really cool. And I've been wanting to make myself some knitted pants since forever. And those just look so cool. It's a fingering weight gauge, so it's going to take ages. However, I think for bottoms, it's a good idea to have fingering weight because it's going to be thinner. And if you have like a thick layer on the bottom, it can immediately feel a bit clunky and like bulky and not comfortable. So I think fingering weight is a good call. And I would absolutely love to make those one day. The next pattern is by a designer that you have probably heard about, but not for this particular design. Her name is Anna Herman Sorensen. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce the O with the slash thing, but on Instagram she is Cupid Knits, which you probably know for the Campanula tee. but this is different. So this one is the Sylvester Tee, and I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's just beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's so elegant and chic and classy and everything, especially in this dark blue. And she used the sparkling yarn, so you can see the little bits of shiny sparkles, and it just makes it just perfect for like Christmas Eve or like New Year's Eve or whatever, but just a festive occasion. Is just gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And I also think the testers version also look good, because this sometimes can happen when only the designer's version look awesome and all the testers look a little bit meh. And I think here it's not the case. I think the testers look just equally as good. I really love this guy. So it's a fingering weight worked from the top down in a round. And there are a ton of sizes, because you're supposed to have 0 ease. So there are double the amount of sizes, because there is a much smaller range between each size, which is a nice touch, I think. And yeah, I think this is gorgeous. For the festive season, it's just an amazing design. The next one is what a perfect transition to talk about what I'm wearing. Because this is my own design, it's the muscle tank. And yes, I am completely self-promoting myself, because I've been told I should do that in the pattern roundup video thing, and people seem to love it when I do it, so I'm gonna do it again. And especially because this pattern comes out today. So I am the 17th, but for you it's the 18th of September, and today the pattern comes out and is available on Ravelry and Payhip. So run, don't walk to get this one. For me, it's a perfect basic wardrobe staple, and I included it in this fall video because to me, this is more adapted to like mid-season or winter as a layering piece, because I did finish this one, I think in July or something, and I never wore it during the whole summer, because every time I had to go out and I was considering putting this one on, I was like, it's too hot. I'm gonna be too hot. No chance I'm putting this on, and I just went with a strappy thing camisole, because yeah, it was just impossible. So for me, this is perfect for either layering or for the in-between season like we are right now. When you go out in the morning, it's super cold, so you have to put a layer on. But as soon as the sun comes out, it gets super hot and you need to remove a layer. But there is still like a fresh breeze in the air and you still want to be kind of covered, but not too much. So for me, this is perfect. And that's why I recommend it as a fall knit. So this pattern comes out in 2 gauges with either fingering or DK. This is the fingering weight version. The DK weight is the same in DK weight. It's knit top down in the round, so the yoke is knit flat and then you join in the round for the body. And it's designed to be like your basic t-shirt with the crew neck and the straight body, except you remove the sleeve, which is what a muscle tank is in a sense. And it also has a pretty deep armhole. So this one is kind of high, but you can see in the DK version, the armhole is pretty deep, because that's what muscle tanks are supposed to be like. You are supposed to be able to like breathe and sweat all you want. And it's just like the look they're supposed to have. But you can totally modify that in the pattern. This is available for 15% off. I have a coupon code for you because it's to celebrate the release of the pattern. So use the code HAPPYMUSCLE until Sunday, end of day. So Sunday, I don't know the date, it's going to be written there, to get 15% off, and it works on Ravelry and on Payhip. So I hope you're going to enjoy that, and yeah, this is my shameless self-plug for today's video, but I cannot tell you how much I have worn this one since I started wearing it. I think it was 3 weeks ago that the heat wave stopped, because it's gross. Like, I wear it so many times in a row. Yeah, it's just perfect for all the occasions. Okay, we are done with the garments, and now we can start with the smaller accessories things. And this one is, it's very specific to my like knitting lore, I would say. If you have followed me during last winter, you will know that I have a problem with my winter boots. I have a pair of Blundstones, and my skin is very fragile, and the back of my ankles gets shredded by my boots. It's just how it is. The back of my boots just rub back here, and I just start bleeding after 5 minutes because I don't know, I'm too fragile. And all my socks are just too short because it happens here, and my socks come just below, and my pants are not long enough to cover this. So the only way to protect this area would be to buy new higher socks, which I don't want to do because I have more than enough socks, and I just don't want to replace things if I have other alternatives. And the other alternative is to knit myself something to protect just the ankle, which is basically a leg warmer. So I started doing that, and it's just awesome. It's perfect. It's basically like you have the opportunity to show off your knitting by wearing something that's going to peek out of your boot, but you don't have to knit a whole sock. And I think it's awesome. So I'm suggesting this particular leg warmer pattern because it's from a very small designer, and I just want to promote new to you designers that you probably don't know about, and also because they are really cute. I mean, they're really classy. There are cables on the front, and it's ribbing around, and yeah, it's super simple, but it's very like harmonious and beautiful, and yeah, they're just cool. So for me, I would definitely only knit the ankle part, so not go over the calf, but you do whatever. And they seem to be pretty easy to modify if you have I mean, there are 3 sizes, but if you want to have it bigger or smaller, you can just also change the yarn, change the gauge. I mean, it's a leg warmer. It's pretty easy to play around with. And it's worked up with the iron weight yarn, but with the cabling, the gauge gets pretty tight, which makes them extra warm. And I think it's awesome. So yeah, I'm putting this here, but also remember that there are leg warmers out there, and if you're too lazy to knit up whole socks, you can still knit just the ankle of the sock and just show that off and be cool without having to knit the whole sock. And speaking about socks, I have even better than that because that's so cute. I mean, hello. They're called the bats and phlox. I have no idea what phlox is. It's probably a type of flower or something. And they are just so cute. It's not just your usual like colorwork sock, because usually colorwork socks are like one motif after the other on one round, and then you have the next motif on the round below, and it's kind of mostly like that usually, but this is different. It's motifs that are intertwined together, and they kind of roll around, and they're not completely aligned, and yeah, it's just so much more organic and beautiful, and I think they're awesome. And I chose this pattern just because I had to select one, but I really want to show you everything else this designer is doing, because every single one of their designs is gorgeous. I mean, I can't. Hello, this is just so cool, and those are beautiful. It's the little hedgehogs. They are so sweet. And this is also really cute. It's like a letter with a heart on it. This is a beautiful poppy design. This is a like rabbit run. It's a rabbit that's running. The foxes. This is a bit more classical with just the same motif repeated on the same row. But this one again, you have like the motif is kind of one whole motif that's going around the sock. And there was one, yeah, I mean, hello, the horses. This is so cool. This one is also super cute. It's like the cats that are peeking through. And there is one that I really, really loved. It's, yeah, this one. The horses, like the Pegasus thing on top of a background with a whirling thing. Amazing. Incredible. The little cats. I just love everything. And it's a little bit different from the usual easy, just having one motif one after the other. Incredible. I really encourage you to go and take a look at everything this person does. I think at least this one comes in only one size, but with socks you can easily play around with the needle size and the yarn weight if you want to make it bigger or smaller. And there is no real other alternatives because you cannot just remove lines or stitch columns from the motif, otherwise you don't have the same motif anymore. So it's kind of the only way you can go with having different sizes for something like that. Okay, 3 more. This one looks like it's very basic, but there is something extremely special about them, and it's actually something you have probably never done, I guess. So they are called the Calidum Mitts by Shena Choffen. I don't even know where she's from. And they look like ribbed mitts or like corrugated ribbing or something, but it's not. It's a technique called twined stitch, and there is both twined ribbing on the cuff and twined two-color twined stockinette stitch. And basically it's a technique where you like twist together the floats of your yarn, and that makes a very dense fabric, and it makes it a lot more durable and windproof and warm and everything. So it's absolutely perfect for something that has a lot of wear, such as mittens. And I also really love the two fingers version, because they are designed for bikers. Like if you want to hold your guidon and be able to brake, this is awesome. They come in 3 sizes, and they are worked up with DK weight yarn. And I think they are so unique. So yeah, if you want to learn a new technique, this is the one to go. I think on her Instagram account she shows the backside, and you can totally see the 2 colors that are like twined together, and it just looks really fun and cool to do, and always nice to learn a new technique, I guess. And talking about new techniques, the next one is also perfect to learn leatherback jacquard. For me it's not new, but a lot of people have never tried that, because this thing is not just a basic colorwork hat. It is actually made with the pine tree is made with the floats of a big colorwork motif, and you use leatherback jacquard to form the trunk of the tree. There is one picture where you can see it a lot better. Yeah, this one. So you can see actually the trunk, the vertical part is formed by the stitches, the stack stitches of the leatherback jacquard, which is basically when you have long floats in colorwork. I've been talking about leatherback jacquard without telling you what it is. You have the long floats of colorwork, and instead of having just the floats hanging around like that, you knit them together over a column of stitches, but on the back of the fabric, so it doesn't show on the right side of the fabric. And that way the floats are more elastic, because instead of just going straight like that, they do a stitch, and that gives more elasticity to the fabric, which is why you use this in a colorwork that has long floats. And here is just such a creative way to use that, and I just love it so much. And I haven't told you the name of the patterns. It's the Lochside Tree Hat by Cat Weaver. You probably know about Cat Weaver, but this is a design that I had never heard about, even though I know about her since forever. And yeah, I just think it's awesome. So if you want to learn leatherback jacquard but don't want to commit to a huge sweater, that's the way to go. It's a small hat, it's a small project, and it's pretty low stakes. So even if you mess up the leatherback jacquard thing, it's a hat. You can either unravel it or just wear it and say, hey, I learned something new. And I messed it up, but at least I learned something new. It's knit with DK weight. I don't know if it's top down or bottom up, but I don't think it really matters. It's just a hat. And is there different sizes? Yes, there are 3 sizes. And it's a pretty small project, so you can definitely do that as gift knitting. You can completely make that for someone. Speaking of gift knitting, the last one is also perfect to gift because it's so small and it's so cute. It's the ROZETA bow, I don't know, by this person. On Instagram, she's Joan Knits, which is much more easier to say. And it's just a super cute bow, and I think the unique part is the way it's folded, because it gives it such a plumpy and full look, and it just makes it extra cute. I don't really know how it's done, but I mean, oh, look at that. They are so sweet. And if you know me, you know I have a huge collection of knitted hair bows, because that's usually what I do with my small leftovers. But I always do the same design. I mean, kind of, I have modified it since then, but it's always the same base of the Augustine's number 22 by Augustine's Decay. But this one is a little bit different, so I'm definitely going to try this one next time I have to do a bow with my leftovers, which might actually be with this yarn. So yeah, I'm super excited to try this. I think it's knit, no, not I think, it's knit in a round from tip to tip. So you need a long ribbon and then you fold it in a certain way to get this shape. And I think the points at each end are formed with decreases and increases. It's just so cute. I love it so much. And that's it. this is all I have for you today. So that were my 14 patterns. I hope you discovered a new designer, new designs, new ideas. You got inspired and yeah, you expanded your horizons. I tried to include a little bit of everything so that everyone could find at least one thing they liked. And I hope you did find something you like. And I hope most importantly, you did find someone, a designer you didn't know about, or find a design that you didn't knew about from a designer that you knew about. What am I saying? And if this one happened to be the one you like the most, definitely don't forget to use the coupon code to get it. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you so much for watching. I will be back next week with a regular podcast episode. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. And yeah, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your help for doing this video, for your suggestions of patterns. Thank you so much for watching, for your support, for your likes, for your comments. And I hope to see you again in the next one. And until then, happy knitting. I love you. Bye.